Sell your stocks? No. I'm Stephen Van Meter. Welcome back to Strongman Personal Finance. We got a bank run. We got panic in the streets. The world's ending. Bank stocks are going down. The collapse is here. Peter Schiff was right. It's not the future anymore, bro. It's the past. We got to talk about Silicon Valley Bank. Now, if you've never read a history book, you may think this is a unique thing that has happened before. Okay, that has happened. As a matter of fact, bank runs used to be very, very common. Here's how banks work. You take your money, you give it to a banker. They store it away in a vault, right? No, they take your money and they lend it out to make money. That's all they do. So a bank actually doesn't have everybody's cash sitting in a vault somewhere. If they did that, they wouldn't be able to make any money, okay? So what banks do, like I said, is they lend money to people. And if they have spare cash, sometimes they just park it in treasury bonds, treasury notes, whatever. And they do that to make more money so they can then pay the interest to the depositors and make as much money as possible. That's what banks do, okay? Now, Silicon Valley Bank was apparently a big partner, a big provider of banking services to a lot of people in Silicon Valley. No, you know what, Sherlock. The name's in the it's in the freaking name. And apparently it's absolutely collapsed. Now, this bank rose to prominence because a lot of Silicon Valley tech clowns were making a ton of money during the clown market. They were piling money into the bank. Why? Because they were making so much money. Man, they would have their crappy stocks go public. They would issue shares and they would be flush with cash. And they would be running the most stupid, ridiculous businesses. But now that a lot of the tech stocks are going bust, that actually puts some pressure, okay? That puts pressure on the banks that hold the deposits of these companies. Why? Well, if, let's say, your company collapses and you got to start pulling money out of the bank to pay bills or whatever, or maybe you just take your money out altogether because your business failed, that's going to cause a lot of problems, okay? But so here's how the story unfolded. Let's go ahead and read, and I'm going to show you exactly why this stock got absolutely annihilated. Here it is right here. SVB Financial Group down 84% in the past 5 years. And of course, it absolutely skyrocketed during the clown market. And then we have this beautiful straight line down. Now, I want to show you how stupid these bankers are, okay? Now, I'm just a regular accountant. I have a 9-to-5 job. I do YouTube on the side. That's what I do. Okay, that's how I live my life. I got 2 kids. I'm a normal guy. Yeah, I'm a licensed CPA, but whatever. Not a big deal. You know what I'm saying? I'm not as good as Jeremy Lefebvre, but even I understand the very basics. I got a nasty booger. I understand the very, very basics of how bonds work. Now, during the clown market, and remember, what I call the clown market is starting in February or March of 2020. Why do I call it the clown market? Well, the entire economy was shut down. When the economy shuts down, in order to stimulate the economy, when there's economic troubles, to stimulate the economy, there's multiple tools that the government has. They can do a bunch of fiscal stimulus. The government can borrow and spend a ton of money and shove money into the economy, stimulus checks, child tax credits, and that would hopefully stimulate demand and get the economy going, because the economy is just people interacting and spending money between each other. That's how GDP is measured, okay? They can do that, or the Federal Reserve, the central bank that's apparently independent, whatever, they can lower interest rates, okay? They can buy back bonds. They can lower the discount rate. They can lower bank deposit requirements, all of that stuff. All of this stuff can be used to stimulate the economy. Now, what do low rates have to do with bonds? What do they have to do with this bank in particular? Well, when interest rates go down, okay, and interest rates go down because, there's people are buying a lot of bonds, for example, or there's a lot of money floating around and the cost of money isn't as expensive. When rates go down, bond prices go up. And the longer the term of the bond, the more sensitive it is to interest rate risk. So if you could perfectly time the bottom of a credit cycle, if you could perfectly say, at this point, I think the Federal Reserve is going to massively cut rates, you would make more money if you had bought a long-term bond, because as rates go up down, bond prices go up. And the further out that bond price is, the further out the maturity of that bond is, the faster, the higher the bond rises in price, okay? But the same thing happens when bond prices go down. So we had historically insanely low interest rates that I don't know, have we ever had rates this low before? Not now. I'm talking about during the clown market. Money was cheap. You could borrow money. You could spend it. You can go freaking wild, okay? You could finance a car. I got a car for 2.59% interest rate. I got a house for 2.89% interest. It was crazy, okay? And what Silicon Valley Bank did was very interesting. Now, like I said, I'm a very simple guy, but I understand the time value of money. Now, I understand because I've had to study bonds in school that the longer the duration of the bond, the longer to maturity, the more sensitive the bond is to interest rate risk. So if I thought if rates were at the lowest they could possibly be, at absolute bottom, and rates were what, zero? They were like, their interest rates money was free at such low interest rates, at such historically low interest rates. The only way rates can really go is back up. So what does Silicon Valley Bank do? Well, I think what they did is they wanted to maximize the yield on their excess cash. So what they did is they said, which bonds have the highest yield? Oh, the ones that are furthest out. So we're going to buy a bunch of long-term bonds at the bottom of the interest rate, the lowest that interest rates can possibly be. I mean, I guess interest rates can go below zero. I don't know how that works, but maybe I'm stupid. But in general, interest rates, when they're at zero, they can't go any lower, okay? And we had inflation and we had a clown market. And I was like, hey, there's probably going to be a point where the Federal Reserve is going to have to raise rates. This economy is going to be super hot with all this stimulus getting pumped in, all these that pent up demand from the lockdowns. Something crazy is going to happen. Rates are going to go up. And when that happens, bond prices get wrecked. But Silicon Valley Bank, and their infinite wisdom, I guess because they deal with clowns, like Silicon Valley tech clowns. They get like infected by these clowns, and it makes them do stupid stuff, like buy long-term bonds at historically low rates, the lowest I think they've ever been. So what happened is rates went up. Rates went up a lot, okay? And when rates go up, bond prices go down. So Silicon Valley Bank had all these bonds on their books. And when rates go up, bond prices go down. Oh, they're sitting on unrealized losses. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? What if you're forced to sell the bonds? Uh-oh, you're in trouble. Now, why would they sell the bonds? They needed cash for whatever reason, okay? But they sold all of these long-term bonds, and they recorded a massive loss. Okay, they lost tons of money. And what they did is they said, hey, we need to go ahead and raise a bunch of money. And they did like a share offering where they wanted to collect or issue shares, $1.5 billion of shares or something like that. It was absolutely insane. Now, this triggered an absolute panic. Now, how bank panic works is people think a bank, here it is. Here's the offering of the common stock. Okay. They announced they intend to offer 1.25 billion of common stock and 500 million of depository shares. So they wanted to raise almost $2 billion to basically cover the loss from selling these securities. They lost $1.8 billion in the first quarter of 2023 from selling these bonds. If you want to get a high yielding bond, okay, with yields, there's different risks. There's always risk with bonds, and bonds are not risk-free, okay? The longer the duration, the more sensitive they are to interest rate risk. And this basic principle that I could understand like nothing. It was easy. It was common sense to me. Why would you buy long-term bonds during the lowest rates that we've ever had? Oh, get that little extra yield. Of course they were going to get wrecked. And of course, for whatever reason, they had to sell their whole portfolio. And boom, they recorded a $1.8 billion loss. And then they go ahead and offer stock. Oh, we just lost a bunch of money because we bought long-term bonds. Hey, can you buy my stock, bro? It's like a Jeremy company. And people panicked. Bank run. Now, like I said, a bank run is when You find out your local bank is about to go under, and you're like, oh crap, I need to get my money out of that bank before everybody else does because my money's in the bank. Imagine if your bank went away. I would crap my pants if my bank went under. I'd be like, oh, I need my money. So people, of course, they all run to the bank at the same time. Give me my money. Give me all my money. Give me all my money. Everybody's flooding the bank, and the bank doesn't have enough reserves. They don't have it. Why? Because most of it's lent out or it's in long-term treasuries. And the worst thing is, if they had more long-term treasuries, they would have had to sell those to meet the withdrawal requests of all the people that deposited money in the bank. So that it just destroyed the bank. It absolutely destroyed the bank because the bank eventually said, hey, we don't have any more cash. We don't have any more cash. It's done. And boom. So that's what happened. Now, apparently all these other bank stocks are going down. And the reason that's happening, I mean, like I said, I'm not like a banking expert, but, all these banks are interconnected. They're all connected together. One bank lends to another. And you got to ask yourself, what's the exposure of all of these banks? How much money did Bank of America lend to them? How much money did JP Morgan lend to them? I don't know. Now, apparently, what is that company called? That stupid clown stock, Roku. I saw an article that Roku has like a quarter of their cash deposited in Silicon Valley Bank. What happened to the stock? Probably went up. Okay, nothing happened. But it's just like, holy crap, man, this is crazy. Okay. So don't be a clown. Look at this guy, Silicon Valley CEO Greg Becker. Oh, let's buy long-term bonds during super low interest rates because they'll never raise rates and that won't hurt our portfolio. And if we want people to, if we get a bunch of people trying to withdraw money all of a sudden, we would have to sell our long-term bonds to meet those requests, right? And then have massive losses. No. What a clown. It's outrageous. Whatever. That's strongman's little banking lesson. Okay. I'm not a banker. I know the basics of how banks work. And to me, it's common sense. You do not buy long-term bonds during extremely low rates unless you're willing to wait like 30 years. Okay. Or you just buy the bond and you hold it till maturity. Don't be a clown like Silicon Valley Bank. All right, let's do some comments. Man, I'm getting a lot of live viewers. Woo, baby. Yank my bank. Oh my bank. Man, if my bank went under, I'd be crapping my pants. You should do a seed round for your tutoring business. Oh, you want shares of my tutoring business? I should. I would grift you guys so hard. What is this, medieval times? Banks should not do this ever these days. Well, no, so banks can still go under, but we have the Federal Reserve. We have it's the lender of last resort, okay? And we have FDIC insurance, and we have all these safeguards because this stuff has happened before. It used to happen all the time, okay? But banks can go under. It happens. I mean, imagine if you were told your bank was about to go under. I'd be crapping my pants if somebody said, hey, your bank's about to go under. You might not be able to access your cash. What? I need my cash. But I actually have my money spread out. I got a USAA. I got money in Vanguard. I got money in Fidelity. I have money in Robinhood. I probably shouldn't. But I got money spread out everywhere. But like at the same time, it's still, terrifying if all your money was in one bank. Let's see. Naked? No, I am not naked. Roku has 27.6% of its cash equivalents of the clown bank. It really is a clown bank. Okay, number one, a bunch of people that bank with them were clowns. Like tech futuristic Kathy Wood type clowns. All right, number one. Number two, they violate basic rules of common sense by buying long-term bonds right before a massive inflationary period. Okay. Has the collapse begun yet? No. This is not a collapse. This is just a stupid decision by a bank. It's the bank's fault. This is not the end of the world. I just think the bank was idiotic. Oh, we can buy long-term bonds. I could advise them not to do that, man. I'm not even a banker. The banking system is over. Watch before Monday. Yeah, the world's ending. Oh, my God. Some clown bank went under. Why should this SVB have all these bonds? Like, why? Well, because they wanted yield. Because think about it. When rates were zero, banks were paying nothing, okay? And if you wanted to generate yield, you'd have to look around to like high-risk debt securities, or you could look at long-term treasuries because they were paying like 2 or 3% back then. It's like, wow, 2 or 3%, that's pretty good, right? That's what they did. They just wanted some extra yield, but they didn't. think about the consequences that if people wanted to start redeeming cash, pulling it out of the bank, and they didn't have enough cash, they would have to sell those long-term bonds. Just saying. Sometimes you have to sacrifice return for risk mitigation. Let's see. This dude has no idea what he's talking. Yeah, okay. Tell me what I said that was wrong. I can't wait till Vanguard goes under. SVB just crashed the market. Do this now. Oh, the world's ending. Sell all your stocks. Oh! Haha, losers. I've been shorting like an MF. See, the good thing, where's VT at right now? What's old VT my ET doing? VT is down 1.38% today, and it's down 0.28% after hours. That's very concerning, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my God. Lefebvre going to recommend SVB. Dude, I can totally see him doing that. I'm not even joking. And guess what? He would get like 20,000 more subscribers. SVP should have bought Tesla instead of bonds. Hey, I would not be surprised if they had some of their money in Tesla, man. I'm like, oh my God. Could you imagine that? A bank that buys long-term debt during low interest rates, super low interest rates, and then they put the rest in Tesla. Okay. Let's see. When rates go up, bonds go up. Yeah, they totally butchered bonds. They're morons. VT down 1%. Strongman retiring. So I'm never gonna retire now. Oh man, the contagion is here. Stephen Van Meter's like, you doing what in his pants. Should I break my VT pig? You should be panicking. Okay, you should put all your money in gold and silver. Oh my God, VT is down. Sell now, Strongman. It's supposed to go up. You told me to buy it, and it's supposed to go up. It didn't go up. Am I safe at home? Depends where you live. I might come to your house later. All right, guys, that's it. It's not the end of the world. Don't freak out, okay? It's a clown bank, okay? The government's went bankrupt. Worst case, the Fed comes in and saves the day, okay? As it always does. All right, talk to you later. Cheers.